What's up, YouTube? The drama with Silicon Valley Bank continues to heat up. Ironically, many stackers fall into a similar trap that the bank is going through. I've had some experience with SVB in the past in working with startups that used to bank with them, and what's happening now can happen when FUD appears. Good old fear, uncertainty, and doubt. This all started on Wednesday when there was news of a bank problem with Silvergate. Investors and venture capital funds told their portfolio companies to start withdrawing cash in an effort to protect their assets given what was happening. This was to the tune of $42 billion in withdrawals in roughly 2 days. By Friday, the bank ran out of cash and things got worse, where government regulators had to step in to cover insured deposits. This is ultimately a case of smart people doing dumb things but looking smart because they're first. Because they were able to get the money out, they did the right thing for their company, but inadvertently messed it up for everyone else because banks don't typically have all the cash deposits available, which caused a liquidity crunch by the bank, which had to sell off assets at a loss. But how do we get here? Silicon Valley Bank was the go-to for startups. More than 50% of all startups in the Bay bank with SVB. They take the millions to tens of millions of investor dollars and put it in there so that they can draw down on it for expenses like payroll and payment to vendors. This is not debt. This is all cash and assets. In this way, it's not the same as the 2008 financial crisis, which was all leveraged. Overall, they should have enough assets to cover the deposits. It's the time frame to sell those assets and how much they'll lose that's in question. What happened to SVB is quite common in the stacking community to relatively new stackers. New buyers will get a little excited and buy a bit too much and will exchange their cash for the shiny only to need the money for some other purchase, a car, bills, house, etc. The mindset going into this is that they won't need the asset and the asset won't lose value, but you're always exposed to short-term decreases. We've seen this with silver that it can happen as it's gone down over the last couple of years. It's gone steadily down from the 30s down to the 20s, where if you purchase then and you have to sell now, you're selling at a loss, or any time in between. So it's important to always have some cash to cover any intermediate expenses, because if you're forced to sell, you're going to get the current value and ultimately it would be a loss. So here we are. The bank is trying to sell itself and its assets while the government provides a lifeline. Several startups and growing businesses that would power the next generation of companies are at risk of failing. Could this cascade? It depends if the confidence in the banking system continues to decline and people try to pull all their cash out of the banking system. Being in the Valley and a part of startup culture, I do know people who are personally affected by this, and they are stressed out because they don't know what's going to happen for them and their families. This is one of those scenarios that is affecting mainly white-collar workers, and when usually it's affecting blue-collar workers, but the extent at which this can reach can be pretty broad. It's going to be an interesting Monday tomorrow. We're going to have to see where this goes. Hopefully something pans out and there's cash that can cover it, because there is no debt in this. This is just a matter of cash and timing. The assets are there. They have value, just like silver and gold. It's just a matter of whether or not they can monetize it. If you made it this far, I'd appreciate it if you could hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel or making a comment. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.